Hey everybody, look, I'm speaking into a mic, like a mic. We got some hookah out here. Thank you for coming back to another episode of Chat with Kat. I got my boy Nu here. He's a photographer, and today I'm going to be asking him some questions. So I'm going to pass the mic. We're doing hookah over here. It's Jersey style. So Nu, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell the people what you do, a little bit about you. Go ahead.
I am shotbynu on Instagram. I'm a photographer in the New Jersey area. Been doing it for years now, and I've shot with basically everybody in this area.
Basically everybody in this area. How long have we known each other, Nu? About like two years or so now?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
So I've known him for a while, and I asked him today because we just did a photo shoot. Be on the lookout. That shit was fire, by the way. And I asked him like if he would be cool with doing YouTube, and that's when he informed me. He's like, yeah, he told me he used to do YouTube. So I was like, all right, even better. So I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna ask him some questions. But first and foremost, what is it that you got going on? And anything you wanna, say that you're gonna be doing soon, any projects you got coming up, or just anything you wanna say, space is yours.
Okay.
Don't knock the hookah over now. Nah. We can't do that.
All right. Definitely don't do that. So, been doing photography for it's been 4 years now. I started a group called Capture Crew. It's me and two of my best friends. And eventually we're going to open a studio out in Jersey for everybody to shoot with, kind of like FD Studios. So that's the next big thing for us. And besides that, keeping Instagram active, trying to build a social media following, and shooting as much as I can, especially with her.
Yeah, we got some fire. If you haven't seen, you need to go check it out. So how I said before, you mentioned it to me, I didn't know you were on YouTube. So if you don't mind telling me a little bit about your, YouTube background and stuff, that'd be dope.
Yeah, so 5 years ago, I was doing YouTube regularly, making a video every week. And I started off recording on a cell phone. And I decided that I wanted to up my game, so I bought a Canon camera to up the quality. And after a half a year of using that, I realized, I bought this nice camera, spent $1,000 on it, might as well start taking pictures. And that's how I got into doing photography. And it was hard because when you first start, you don't have any work, and a lot of people don't mess with you. So you have to find somebody who will give you a chance. And then you off the rails with it.
Yeah. No, he was telling me this off camera before. I did not even know that he literally bought his camera for YouTube. I think that's crazy to me because I've known him as a photographer, videographer, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, nah, I bought the camera for YouTube. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. People be out here slaving for the YouTube. You know what I'm saying? If you had to give one piece of advice, because I know I'm not the only one, a lot of other people are trying to grow on YouTube, what would be one thing you could say? Well, I guess besides being consistent, because we kind of know that, but what's something else?
Yeah, with consistency, that's the biggest thing on YouTube. But what they don't tell you is consistency breeds burnout. So you have to find a way to still be consistent with these videos every week while not burning yourself out, because you run out of ideas pretty quickly.
Right.
At first, you're going to be, you're going to have thousands of ideas that you want to record. And eventually those ideas are going to run out, and you're going to feel like you've done everything that you could. But you want to try your best to avoid that and find a way to keep your ideas fresh, because that's what's going to keep the viewers entertained on YouTube.
Very true, very true. So now I want to get back into the photography side.
Mm-hmm.
I never interviewed a photographer, and this is cool for me.
Yep.
And I know it's going to be cool for y'all, because we always hear from the models, what it's like working with photographers, all these stories. So now I get to ask you about models. So, okay, we're going to start right off the bat. What is probably the most difficult thing about working with female models that is who you mostly work with? It's the most difficult thing.
The worst thing about working with models is people being flaky. So you'll book a model for a month out, and you want to do something on a certain day. The chances of her actually showing up and doing what you're planning on doing is always slim, because people have life happening. But a lot of these models, I find, are very unprofessional. People lack communication. So it's a hit or miss all the time. You never know if they're going to actually show up. So that's the worst part about it.
And you've worked with even some people that have quote unquote bigger names. And it don't matter, right? It doesn't matter if you're working with I don't want to say lower end, but someone who's not as known or someone who is known. There's really not that much of a difference in that aspect, right?
Yeah, I've shot with people with 1 million followers and more. And it seems like the more followers that they have, the quicker they are to just, you know, not show up and not have a reason, because they feel like they're already so big, they don't really have to explain to you, being a smaller creator.
Like, why do I, if I cancel on you, I don't gotta say shit or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I feel like we hear so much from the models perspective of photographers doing fuck shit or whatever, but like, we don't really hear, like, I didn't even really know till I started. I have a lot of photographer friends. I didn't know, so I started talking to them, and they'll be telling me issues, and I'm like, wow, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Could you think of, you probably have told me this off camera, say one scenario where you felt like, yo, I want to put this camera down, I want to quit, or you just felt like really frustrated. You don't have to say names, of course.
Yeah.
Protect ourselves. But like, if you could think of one instance where you were like, this is some bullshit, go ahead.
Yeah.
Floor is yours. Take it away.
The first thing that comes to mind, I reached out to a porn star model on Twitter, and we agreed to shoot. And she was going to be in town for Exotica. So Exotica was in DC, and that's like 3 hours from here. So we made plans, and she was like, yeah, just meet me at the booth and I'll tell you my schedule, and then we can shoot. So me and the homie drove down there, 3 hours. We got a hotel for the weekend.
It's money that you're spending. Sorry, not to cut you off, but just so people can get the full story. Like, when we go, you know, you go out of your way to go on trips, you drove, you got a hotel room.
Yep.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it costs money. Everything costs money.
And so, time as well.
Too.
Yep.
So we drove down there, we got the hotel, we met her at Exotica. She told me that we would shoot that night because she had something to do the next day. So she was like, we'll squeeze it in that night. And that night came, and she stopped answering. So me and the homie are waiting in the hotel for the shoot, and then we get a text around like 3 a.m. talking about, yeah, I don't think we can do this. I ended up going out with a couple of friends, and it's just not going to work for me. I have to be ready for tomorrow's Exotica event. So I told her, we can shoot in the morning right before you go to Exotica.
Right.
She's one of the performers there, so she's staying at Exotica's hotel, which is only like a couple 100 feet away from Exotica.
Right.
So it would only take her just a little bit to get ready, and she can be there right after. So I tried to, you know, make the shoot happen in the morning, and she was like, no, it's not gonna work. I don't have enough time. So yeah, the next morning, I end up seeing her on Twitter talking about how she decided to take care of herself, and, you know, you gotta put yourself before other people and all this stuff. But like, you already told me to drive way out here. We already spent the money. You could have snuck it in. And we ended up not shooting and wasted our time. It was terrible.
Wow. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm glad that you shared. I'm sorry that happened to you. But I'm glad that you shared the story, because we don't, well, I feel like I don't hear that enough from the photographer's point of view. And how, like I was saying, how at the end of the day, whether you're a performer, someone who's in front of the camera, behind the camera, it is our time at the end of the day. And like, you could have, you know, shot with so many other people, like, you know what I mean, at that time. If she, you know, she would have told you, like, I'm not gonna be able to do it, give you proper notice and all that stuff. But yeah, I feel like there's so much shit that happens on social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, after the fact. And I think that that's something that people also don't talk about as well, and can kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
So what's something, I guess, that you can't really prevent, like, you know, what other people are gonna do, but I mean, what's like, I guess, a red flag that you find that you try to, like, watch out for, like, before, like, you think about working with someone or even hitting them up?
You look for chances of you to lose money. So like, if you have a shoot set up, you got to think about how long it's going to take you to get to this shoot, where the location is, and how much it's going to cost for you to, you know, get there, because there's a good chance that you might go all the way, spend all the money, get there, and then last minute they cancel. So that's always a red flag for me. That's something I watch out for. So like, if I'm doing a shoot and I have to drive a certain amount of time, I don't leave the house anymore until I know they're on their way to the shoot.
Right.
But even then, I've had somebody get in a car crash, and then
that happened.
Yeah, they got in an accident, and then You know, they didn't show up to the shoot, and then the next day I seen them posing on Instagram like nothing happened.
See what I'm saying about social media? How it can come back to bite you in the ass?
Yeah.
Yo, all right. I'm going to switch gears a tiny bit. I want to know, because newbie talking his shit. If y'all don't follow him on social media, like, please do, because he's fucking hilarious, especially when he goes on his little rants and his Instagram stories, or the questions he answers is fucking hilarious. And we talked about this, like, off camera, I feel like, one time, too. How do you feel about... about photographers getting into the porn industry?
You
How
know,
do you feel about that?
When I first started, I was part of a group of models and photographers, and well, they were very prude, right? So they took lingerie pics, but when it came to talking about, you know, being an adult, dating each other's and things like that, they were very, like, really put off, standoffish about models and photographers mingling. And I remember I asked them a question, and I was like, why is it so bad that a model would date a photographer?
Right.
And they chewed me out. They told me I was going to end up on a blacklist, as if this is like the worst thing in the world. And I was just telling them, like, we're all human. You know, if you vibe with somebody, no matter if you're a photographer or a model, you might end up dating. It's just, you know, human nature.
Right.
But, you know, you shouldn't ever go into being a photographer thinking you're going to get girls. That's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're going to, you know, push your luck and see if, you know, you like somebody and try to actually act on it, do it outside of, you know, the photo shoot. Don't do it at the photo shoot.
Right.
You got to do it, you know, be smooth with it. But you always have to know that if you pursue that and they don't like you, you could end your professional career with them.
Right.
So you got to be careful. But I'm all for it. If you are a consenting adult and the other person's a consenting adult, it's fine if you guys decide to date. Like, it's normal human. So
something else that you talk about, he talks about a lot, which I appreciate you doing, is you be calling out these creeps.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
man with cameras, what I call them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Men with cameras, because we have photographers who are very professional. I would most definitely recommend him. Obviously, he's on my YouTube channel for a reason, but you're always calling out these dudes, and as you should, because honestly, in this, even in just like the modeling world, right? We don't get me wrong, we have blacklists, but a lot of shit is word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would, aside from like petty things, for the most part, people, we do this to keep each other safe. And a lot of these models, they could be younger girls, and they don't know what the fuck they're getting into, and God forbid something may happen to them. So like, we try to keep each other safe in that aspect, where we could say, listen, this man is known for doing this or whatever. So, you know, unfortunately, there's nothing we could do about these men with cameras, but you kind of just answered maybe a little bit before. But I guess, what's a piece of advice you would give, let's say like a new up and coming photographer, right? That he's hearing all this shit. He's like, damn, like the models be talking like that about photographers. Like, he's like shitting bricks a little bit, because he's like, damn, like any little thing I do, am I going to get fucking blacklisted? Then am I going to get blasted on Twitter or whatever?
Yeah.
We know to be decent human beings, obviously. But yeah, what would be one piece of advice you would give an up and coming photographer so he could, you know, just
not get in trouble?
Not get in trouble, yes.
Yeah, so when you're dealing with these models, you got to realize that anything you say could be taken a wrong way. So
and that's happened.
I would do your best to always keep your conversations professional, especially at shoots, because like you can do something that you think is very just mild. Like, you can compliment somebody, oh, your eyes look nice, but you never know what kind of person you're talking to. So they could take that as, oh, he was trying to flirt with me and he was trying to get with me. But it's, you know, to you it's not that. To them, they could take it the wrong way. So the best thing to do is work on your communication. Don't just say everything that comes to your mind. Everybody's human. People have, you know, things that go through their head, but that doesn't mean you should always just let other people know what's going through your head.
Right.
Keep it professional, and you'll save yourself a lot of bad times.
Right. And I think that a lot of people see like these dudes, you're like, oh my God, you take pictures of these beautiful women, right? And they get half naked or whatever. You get that a lot, right?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, how do you do it? Or whatever. Like, how does your dick not get hard? I'm pretty sure you've gotten like, I've heard shit, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is that something like you've experienced a lot? Like, just like even like random vanilla people will be like, oh, I don't know how you do it. These girls get naked in front of you. Like, how are you able to like contain yourself or not flirt with them?
Yeah. So the flirting thing, that's all on you controlling your impulses. Like, that shouldn't be a problem. If you're a grown ass person, you should have no problem keeping your mouth shut.
It shouldn't.
You should know
you
that
just be so surprised.
Exactly. You should know that you're in a professional setting, and that there's a time and place for things, and it's not the time or place for that.
Right.
Now, your human impulses, like you getting hard at a shoot, it happens.
Yeah.
Especially when you first start. If you're just starting and you're not used to seeing stuff like this, you might get horny. It happens. But
erotic stuff as well. Yeah.
It's your job as an adult to control yourself. Like, you're a grown ass man. You know how to control yourself. But eventually, as you do it more often, you're kind of numb to it. It doesn't like affect me anymore. It's just an everyday thing now. It's just part of what I do.
Right.
So like, I could be around a bunch of naked people, and it's a normal day for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how I was saying before, how you would like share on your stories, like all like these like people would tell, like they would tell you things like, oh, this happened to me with a photographer. What's probably the craziest story you got? Because I know people were sending you in stuff. Like, what's probably the craziest thing, or just not even then, just the craziest thing you ever heard a photographer do that you were like, wow, that's fucking wild.
You know what? The craziest story I ever got about a photographer was actually from you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Apparently, a photographer was taking pictures of her and decided that it'd be a great time to jump into her booty cheeks with his face. And that is really ridiculous.
Red flag.
You need to be jailed. I don't know what you were thinking, but that was not the move.
Yes.
Don't ever touch models without consent.
Yes.
You're going to jail, bro.
If I might as well, I know. I know this is your interview, but yeah, that's exactly what happened, because you have put a question out, and he was like, models, I want to know like what your crazy story was. I was like, I got this, right? So yeah, I was in the middle of a photo shoot. This was like probably like about 3 years ago now. I don't think that photographer's around, because more likely than not, this is the thing, if a photographer does something to one model, he's done it already, and he will continue to do so. So I'm pretty sure he's not working anymore, because he did, after I found out, he did countless shit to other people. But yeah, so I was in the middle of a shoot. I had gotten a phone call from a friend of mine, so I was like, oh, hold on, whatever. I'm laying on the bed, because we were shooting on the bed, and I'm on the phone with my friend at the time, talking, having a conversation. He's asking what I'm doing, whatever. The photographer comes up behind me, and I'm wearing lingerie, obviously, pulls my lingerie down and starts eating my ass, like just tongue in the asshole. Like, and I'm on the phone, mind you, the whole time this is happening, and I'm just like, when something really shocking is happening to you, and you're like, yo, this is really fucking happening type, like, I froze. I didn't know what to say. Like, he's talking to me, and he's back there having the time of his fucking life. Like, it was just so weird. And granted, this was a few years ago, so I would have handled it way differently now. But I feel like back then I was just so like new to things, and that something like that had never happened to me before.
Yeah. Never
in a setting like that ever. So I didn't know like what to do. I never worked with him after that, and like I got my photos. They were nice photos, I'm not gonna lie, but like that shit, I wound up telling my friends like later on that day what had happened, that my friend had shot with him, but when she shot with him, she was with her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I definitely feel whenever somebody brings an escort, the photographer will tend to act different. Yeah. So yeah, but that was my story. That was fucking crazy. So now that I actually just thought of a question while I was talking, how do you feel about like people who bring escorts? Or a male, whether it be, a boyfriend or something like how do you feel about that? Because that's been an issue with photographers.
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer that if you shoot with somebody you've never shot with before, and they tell you not to bring somebody, don't shoot with them.
Yeah, red flag.
You need to feel comfortable. You need to know you're safe. Mm-hmm. So bring somebody with you the first time you ever shoot with anybody.
Yes.
Don't ever let someone tell you not to.
Yes.
Now, I can see why some people tell you not to, because I've had situations where the boyfriend is sitting there me mugging the whole time we're shooting, and the model can't focus. But first time shoots, bring somebody, because you never know who you're dealing with on the other end of their Instagram page or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's
be safe.
Yeah, no, you have to put your safety first. So get references. References are a really good thing to have, and that's something that the models do. I think maybe even I don't know. Do like photographers do that? Do y'all like talk amongst yourselves about like certain models? I didn't know.
Yeah, I've definitely hit up photographers about models before I shot with them.
Yeah,
because you just never know.
Yeah,
they might do something crazy. And it's not just something that photographers do. Models do crazy shit too.
Right.
I've heard photographers say models tried to, give them head at it, shoot and stuff, and they were like, "What the fuck?"
Wait, hold on.
But
that I never heard of.
Yeah,
holy shit.
I've had at least 3 guys tell me that a model has tried to, come onto them at the shoot to try to get free pictures and stuff like that.
Wow.
And you never know who you're dealing with.
No, and this is the thing. A lot of people are married too, and all that. You don't know like people's life situations, especially if you like just met them. Like you have no fucking idea what they got going on.
Exactly.
So
I mean, there are guys that will go for that, but you never know who you're dealing with. You might be dealing with someone who's extremely faithful. You can't just be at a photo shoot going crazy. That's a wild thing to do.
Right. Oh my god, yeah, that's funny. I'm so happy that we're getting like your point of view, because we always hear like our point of view, and I think that it's just good practice to find out how it is like from everybody, you know what I mean, from producers to directors to photographers, because there could be shit that we don't even know about. Like there's some stuff that you told me that I was like, wow, holy shit. Trying to think, do you have anything that you want to share that you feel like it would be beneficial for not just photographers, but I mean, since you are a photographer, is there anything that, no matter how weird it may seem or whatever, anything that you want to say?
Yeah, a lot of people focus on the end result of shoots, but one of the main things you need to focus on as a photographer is making sure that the model feels safe with you.
Right.
You need to build that relationship so that they feel good enough to perform their best when you're shooting them.
Right.
Like me and her are great friends now.
Yep.
And I'm sure when I first started shooting her, she was like, "Who is this guy?" But once you get comfortable and you guys vibe, you make better work.
Absolutely.
So focus on the experience as much as you focus on the last result and the edited pictures and all that.
I like that a lot. I don't think a lot of photographers even say that.
Yeah.
They'll like focus more on like the editing and the lights and this and that, but they're like not focused on like the subject in front of them. The model is a living, breathing human being, like like the rest of us.
Yeah.
No, for real. Well, thank you so much. Like I feel like we learned a lot I know I did. So like I said, it was just great to get a photographer on here. And you want to tell everybody, I think you said it again, but again, if you want to plug yourself where they could find you, that'd be great. Yep, shotbynu on Instagram. That's my main social. I'm trying to get a Twitter following, but shotbynu is basically all my socials. Right. So you can find me everywhere. And if you guys are ever up here in the North Jersey, New York area, please hit up my boy. He has awesome work. Go check his page out. And maybe we can get you back on YouTube one day. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Maybe he'll come back on YouTube. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.